Speak No Evil is a horror film written and directed by James Watkins, known for Eden Lake and The Woman in Black. A remake of the 2022 Danish-Dutch film of the same name, the film stars James McAvoy, Mackenzie Davis, Ashlyn Franciosi, Alex West-Lefter, Dan Howe, and Scoot McNairy. When an American family is invited to spend the weekend at the idyllic country estate of a charming British family they befriended on vacation, what begins as a dream holiday soon warps into a snarled psychological nightmare as the hosts begin to test the limits of their guests. That was a pretty wordy couple of sentences there. This review will be spoiler-free. So far grossing over $70 million on a $15 million budget, the film has proved another success for Blumhouse Productions, who are great at producing cost-effective horror. I have not seen the 2022 original film that this is based off of, which I have heard is good, and despite hearing that this remake was good, I thought that the story was fairly generic, to be honest. The film moves at a pretty good pace. There is always something happening. There are no scenes that feel as though they should be removed. The film is slow because it plays things very realistically and takes time to build its character dynamics. Due to the film's predictability, it fails to build any true suspense, but it is still effective in its cringe-worthy moments, which are stirred by James McAvoy's Paddy as his behaviour becomes more antisocial and abrasive. The film is always engaging, despite its rather bland directing style. I have never thought much of James Watkins as a director. Eden Lake had some effective moments for sure, but it had really stupid characters. And The Woman in Black had a solid Daniel Radcliffe performance, but it really wasn't scary in the slightest. Both were photographed in an uninspired way. Speak No Evil is more entertaining than those two films, but just like them, the cinematography is extremely basic here. The colours are really flat. It is just not a good looking film. I definitely would have enjoyed it more if it had been. Film is a visual medium, but this doesn't take advantage of its visual storytelling potential. This is very important to me when watching a film. I want the film to look good, but also to have subtext conveyed in its imagery. I wish that the film was more violent in Act 3. We spend so much time waiting for pennies to drop, but once they do, it all feels rather PG rated, and this film is not PG rated. There isn't much to the characters, but they still feel like real people. I had a major issue with Scoot McNairy's character of Ben though, as he is not only an extreme beta male to James McAvoy's Paddy, but to his own wife Louise as well, played by Mackenzie Davis. Every single character is smart and logical, including the children, with the one exception being Scoot McNairy's Ben. He continually makes idiotic decisions and is so defeated as a person that he can never muster the courage to protect his own daughter. Excluding the perpetrators, of course, Ben is the biggest reason that any of the horrific events of the film occur, simply due to his complacency. Because of this, it's really hard to get behind him when he is such a pathetic excuse for a father. Sure, there's reasoning given as to why he is so limp, but there's never any real redemption for him. It's hard to believe that Louise would even be married to this guy. I don't want to spoil anything, but you would think that they'd portray Ben this way in order to give him some kind of growth and some kind of arc throughout the film, but I never ended up liking him or sympathizing with him. He was a very weak person, and I'm unsure as to why he was written that way. Because when he's written that way, you can't put yourself in his shoes, which you need to do for this kind of tension-filled family horror. You need to be able to picture this as being your family and what you would do for them in these situations. The shining light of this movie is James McAvoy. He is such an incredibly charismatic actor, and he has a lot of fun with this role. I really like watching him in everything that I've seen him in. We have all met people that present as he does in this. They are so extroverted that there is almost no room for you to say no. Maybe sometimes you say no, but they just talk over you and they act like they haven't even heard you. He isn't scary in the film, he's funny. But that's totally intentional. It's not an accidentally funny performance. He's just so outrageous. He is built physically bigger than I've ever seen him, so this character is definitely imposing. He is so charming in the first act that you just can't help but smile at how intense he is and the funny things that he says. This isn't a good-looking film, nor is its story very original, but it moves at a steady pace and features a fun performance from James McAvoy. If you're a fan of these kinds of realistic mystery-based horror films that revolve around families being duped by charming individuals, then you won't have a bad time. This kind of is a subgenre all its own. If you're not really a horror fan and you don't watch that much horror, I'm sure that the tension will build for you and it will actually be rather effective if you're not used to films like this. If you're a fan of Eden Lake, then you will probably like this. That is honestly kind of similar, but it's a little bit more violent, which I would have liked to get out of this. This isn't a must-watch, but you will not be disappointed if you do decide to watch it.